Are you thinking about making a move to Des Moines? Maybe you've got a new job offer, want to be closer to family, or you've just heard about how great the Midwest is for raising kids. It's becoming a pretty popular destination, and for good reason. From excellent job opportunities to welcoming and supportive communities, Des Moines really has a lot to offer. And in this video, we're going to be diving into what it's really like to live in Des Moines, from day-to-day experiences to what makes it a unique place to live. And this is all coming from someone who grew up in Des Moines. I lived there until I went off to college at 18. My parents, brothers, and sisters still live there, and I visit often enough to have a really solid sense of what Des Moines has to offer. So I'm going to sprinkle in some of my personal thoughts throughout as well. But before we jump in, if you're thinking about a move to Des Moines and want to ask a local expert your questions on housing, daily life, cost of living, or just about anything else Des Moines related, then check out the phone number of a local, honest, experienced, and very importantly, licensed real estate agent in the description down below. They're looking forward to hearing from you and answering any questions that you might have. Okay, first, a bit of history and context. Des Moines is the capital of Iowa, which is in the heart of the United States, the Midwest. And it started out as Fort Des Moines in 1843 and shortened to just Des Moines in 1857. Its name comes from the Des Moines River, which, fun fact, was named by the French and means River of Monks because of the monk communities that settled along the riverbanks when the French originally arrived. Now, fast forward to today, it's home to about 215,000 people in the city and around 700,000 people in the metro area. And if you're into business or tech, Des Moines is actually a huge hub for insurance companies like Principal Financial Group and other big corporations like Wells Fargo and Nationwide. Even companies like Microsoft and Facebook have huge data centers there. So it hosts a pretty solid mix of industries and provides a lot of great opportunities for people in a variety of different fields. And naturally, this makes for a really robust economy, which is one of Des Moines' biggest strengths. Over the past decade, they've seen a really impressive job growth rate, up by over 16%. And employment is on the rise, especially in industries like construction, insurance, banking, and professional services. Now, your income would, of course, vary based on your specific job and the industry you work in. But the average salary in Des Moines is around $72,000, which is about 13% higher than the national average. And by the way, compared to the cost of living in just about any other big city, an average salary in Des Moines would afford you a pretty sweet life because things are generally a lot more affordable. Incomes even grew by just shy of 7.5% from 2021 to 2022 alone, which is even faster than the previous year. So while other places are seeing a dip in GDP, Des Moines is continuing to show signs of economic resilience and strength. And one reason for this is the city's booming insurance industry. A lot of major companies like Principal Financial Group, EMC Insurance, and Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield are headquartered in Des Moines. In fact, Des Moines is sometimes called the Hartford of the West because of its major insurance company presence. Iowa also has one of the lowest tax rates in the country, making it an attractive spot for all different types of businesses. Now, Iowa's education system is another standout feature that sets it apart from the rest of the country. So if you're thinking about moving with kids or even going back to school yourself, Iowa has a lot to offer. The public schools are well organized and highly rated. Plus, Iowa makes sure boys and girls have equal opportunities and support when it comes to activities like sports, music, and clubs. It really shows you how much they care about giving every kid a fair shot and providing them with the tools and guidance that each one needs to excel. Now, when it comes to colleges, you have a lot of options there as well. There are some great liberal arts schools like Grinnell, as well as bigger universities like Drake University in Des Moines or Iowa State University in Ames, which is about a 45-minute drive away from Des Moines, and known for their engineering and business programs. And of course, there's the University of Iowa, which is about a 2-hour drive away from Des Moines and is famous for its finance department. And if you become an Iowa resident, in other words, if you and your family settle down in Iowa, in-state tuition is actually some of the most reasonable in the country comparatively. Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit and get into Des Moines' geography and climate. The city itself covers about 90 square miles and it sits between two rivers, the Raccoon and Des Moines rivers, giving it a really nice landscape that's filled with rolling hills and scenic views, especially near the riverbanks. And as for the climate, you'll get the cozy, hot chocolate-worthy snowy days and the sunny, hot summers, and just about everything in between. But one thing to keep in mind is that winter can get a little rough. While it's not extreme compared to other regions, snowstorms and icy roads can make things tricky, especially if you're someone who's not used to driving in winter weather. But the city is totally prepared for just about any winter weather, and has the snow plows out, plowing the streets just about when you see the first drop of snow. And those summers are nice, they do get hot and a bit on the stickier, more humid side. But autumn, there's just something about the autumn in Des Moines that makes it my absolute favorite. The temperature is mild, and when all the leaves change colors, it just adds a stunning effect to the entire city. I mean, I used to just drive around for hours just to look at the leaves changing colors in different parts of Iowa. They're legitimately that beautiful. And I want to add a small point that around Christmas time, the whole city gets in the spirit. Just about every house is lit up beautifully, and you can really feel the warmth and good spirits. It's really, really, really something to see. Now, I briefly mentioned it earlier, but let's do a little bit of a deeper take on the cost of living in Des Moines, especially when you compare it to other comparable cities. Because if you're thinking about moving to Des Moines, the housing market and cost of living are probably something that's really weighing on your mind. And I think that you won't be disappointed with what I'm about to say. The average cost of a house is around $215,000, which is far lower than the national average. And the housing market is still bustling. So whether you're looking to move to Des Moines, or if you're looking into places to buy an investment property, you'll likely find that Des Moines can offer a great return on either of those investments. And in terms of the rental market, along with just about everything else in Des Moines, it's also pretty reasonable, with the average rate at just about $1,000 per month for a house. So in my experience, whether you decide to rent or buy, you're going to find that Midwest living doesn't put nearly the same pressure on your wallet as it does in bigger cities, and your money can go a lot further for you. And to back it up with a little bit of facts, statistically, Des Moines is about 13% cheaper than the national average, and housing is a whopping 31% under the national average. And that, of course, affects just about everything else. Things like utilities, groceries, healthcare, along with fun are generally much more affordable. Okay, so let's get into what it's like to get around Des Moines. First off, there is limited public transportation in the more populated areas called DART, which stands for Des Moines Area Regional Transit, and is the largest transit system in Iowa. It runs through areas like Altoona, Ankeny, West Des Moines, and more. But if you're going to be relying heavily on public transportation, I'd make note to bring it up to the real estate agent in the description if you talk to them, because it's not as available or widespread as some of the bigger cities. So you'll need to discuss options with them that might work for you beforehand. But generally speaking, to get around properly and timely, at least if you don't live in downtown Des Moines or something like that, you'll likely need to get yourself a car or Uber around. But if you are driving, the traffic here is comparatively some of the lightest in the country. They have streets that are wide in a well-developed grid pattern, extremely well-kept highways, and they're constantly working to upgrade the traffic situation. And unless there's an accident, construction, or something like that, you really won't have to sit in traffic just about anywhere in the city for more than a few extra minutes during rush hour. Perks of living in a smaller city, I guess. The next thing that I want to touch on is safety, because as you might know, if you're coming from a bigger city, it's one of the biggest problems in the United States right now. Now, thankfully, like about every other statistic that I brought up so far, the crime rate is lower than the national average, both for violent and petty crimes. It's a safe place overall, with great neighborhoods and a highly rated and effective police force. So you can and should feel comfortable living and exploring the city. And of course, another really important thing to look for when you're moving is what can you do when you're not working or just chilling at home. Now, for families, places like Adventureland are a great option for some outdoor summer fun. It's kind of like Iowa's own very mini version of Disneyland, with over 100 rides and even a water park. Or if it's too hot for you outside, there's the Science Center of Iowa, which is fun both for kids who love hands-on exhibits or even for adults who still secretly love dinosaurs. And the Iowa State Fair, which comes around every summer, is one of the best rated fairs in all of the United States. You can jump on some rides, play some games, catch an outdoor concert, get yourself some fresh, delicious barbecue, maybe a turkey drumstick right off the grill, cheese curds, Iowa sweet corn, and a ton more options. But if you're more into nature, the Botanical Garden is a peaceful indoor place to spend an afternoon, or you could visit the Blank Park Zoo, where you can actually feed the giraffes. Plus, the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroads offer a scenic train ride. Now, unfortunately, there are no major league professional sports teams, but if you're a sports fan, you can catch an Iowa Cubs game, which are a AAA baseball team that plays games at Principal Park in downtown Des Moines. Or for bigger concerts or events, the Iowa Event Center is where you'll find major acts like Foo Fighters and Pink, along with family favorites like Disney on Ice. And of course, there are abundant neighborhood parks and lots of outdoorsy options for exploring, exercising, hiking, fishing, hunting, camping, and so on and so forth. And even when you're not going out to concerts or exploring amusement parks, the quality of life and day-to-day chillness are things to cherish. Whether you're a young professional, raising a family, or even looking to settle down for retirement, Des Moines offers something for just about everyone. It has a slower pace compared to larger cities. It's chiller, which makes it easier to enjoy life with a lot less chaos and a lot more common sense. Plus, it's been recognized in multiple publications for its affordability and livability, consistently making the lists for one of the best United States cities to live in. And I can definitely see why. Now, the neighborhood you choose to live in is going to depend on the style of life you're looking for. For example, Clive and Windsor Heights offer a lot of different housing options, from modern homes to more traditional styles in a more suburban setting. And each area has its own unique vibe. But whether you want a more quiet, rural feel, a lively urban setting, or a suburban, more neighborly feel, it's pretty easy to find a neighborhood if you know what you're looking for. And despite definitely being a smaller city comparatively, there's a really diverse culture to it. You'll find a variety of restaurants, communities, and different cultural traditions all over the city. There isn't one predominant culture, which makes it feel more welcoming and open to newcomers wherever you come from. And the bottom line is, as someone speaking with authority about Des Moines, having grown up there and regularly spend time there, I can honestly say that it offers a great balance of affordability, quality of life, and work opportunities. It's a city that's easy to settle into, with plenty of room to grow and explore, while being one of the safest, quote-unquote bigger cities in the country. It offers a good mix between modern, fast-paced living and a more calm and traditional lifestyle that the locals cherish and appreciate. Okay, so that about sums things up. So again, if you're thinking about moving to Des Moines, or you want more information on things like housing, cost of living, or just general insights on what life is really like from someone who lives there, eats, breathes, and sleeps Des Moines right now, then be sure to check out the description below, where you'll find contact details to get you in touch with a knowledgeable, honest, nice, and licensed local real estate agent who can help get you set up and settled into the Des Moines lifestyle. Okay, so that's all for today. If you found this video helpful or interesting, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this. As always, I enjoy hearing your thoughts, and I'll try to get back to any questions or comments you leave down below as fast as I can. And finally, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.